I'm Richard Lewis, reporting for cadred.org. I'm with a man who needs no introductions, but I'm going to do one anyway. It is, of course, the mighty Ocelote from SK. Great to catch up with you again. Let's start, though. Bit of a disappointing tournament here, out in the groups. So that wasn't what we expected. What happened?
That wasn't expected. I mean, you cannot expect that when you drive to a tournament. You cannot expect to go out of group phase, you know. But obviously, we knew that we were burned out. Nobody of us wanted to play League of Legends these days, because we had 5 matches in the Super Week the last weekend. So we didn't really prepare for this tournament. We couldn't. We had no physical time for it. We're like traveling a lot, moving from hotel to hotel with 2 big-ass luggage of 25 kilos. So we really couldn't put efforts into this tournament, even though for me this tournament is it's just so special, you know. It was my first tournament I went to in 07. IEM Grand Finals in World of Warcraft. And for me, it's extremely important to win the trophy. It wasn't possible because other teams were more prepared than us. But what I do is, like, when the things don't go good, just look forward and rock LCS.
You talked about being tired and not having time to prepare. I mean, obviously LCS is always going to take priority because that's, you know, the bread and butter. That's, you know, where your money is made. That's how you make your living. Is there not a risk that tournaments like this might not exist in the future if LCS teams can't compete at a realistic level, or would rather not be here?
Well, if I'm honest, I love coming to these tournaments, even though I got no physical time. I think the main problem was that this was right after the Super Week. If the things were made a little bit different, like instead of being right after Super Week, is after a week that we got 2 or 3 matches, or just instead of doing 3 days after LCS, this tournament, just doing it 1 week after, we would have got enough time. Yeah. But at the end, seabed is when it is, you know. You cannot really change it. So all I can say, thank you very much for doing this tournament once again. And next tournament will be better.
Were you happy with the way the team chemistry was all working? Because I know you've got a new jungler in there, and you know you've changed things up a bit. And I think you're, as a team, you've got some big personalities in there, especially yourself. So were you happy with how it was all working?
Well, in terms of personalities, I think right now we don't have this crazy personality like we had with RNA as well, or like we had with other players. But everybody is more like not shy, but a little bit on the second plane, except me actually. And they know that the main goal of everybody in the team is winning season 3 and being successful overall. So right now, my jungler, the new jungler, Harkiba, is a beast. He's really good. Neve is playing incredible. Like months ago, I was like thinking, oh my God, Neve is not playing so good, but let's give him a chance. I changed completely the way I behave towards him in game, and he's just a beast right now. Kevin doesn't need to be spoken about. Like, he's just a beast. He was always extremely good player. And Candy Panda, surprisingly, I spoke to him before he joined again, and he said, man, I'm motivated again. And I was like, this is weird. I had a Skype call with him, and he was like, oh man, I really want to do this and that, and do this and that. And it was crazy because I actually believe it, you know. And I remember when the community gave me a second opportunity, I was like, dude, everybody deserves a second opportunity. Candy Panda, let's test you again. And he gave, wow, just seeing how he's playing, he's extremely
really
awesome.
well.
And yesterday, somehow none of us had the day. None of us had this, you know. We are players that at some point of the game, we come and bang, double, triple kill or whatever, we catch somebody or whatever, you know. But in these games, it didn't happen because we weren't fresh, you know. I wasn't fresh against Frost. I basically lost the game alone. Against whatever, Neve lost the game alone. You know, it wasn't the right moment for this tournament. But at the end, I'm very happy and being here. And if I could go backwards, I would, even though we lost horribly, I would come again because we learned a big lesson.
Well, what about, you know, your form in LCS? You're 3rd in the league, right, which is good. Do you think you should be higher? I mean, do you see yourself still as the #1 team in Europe?
No. We are, I think Gambit right now is ahead of us, not even a bit. They are a little bit too much ahead of us. We are going to catch up eventually because they are not better players than us. We are really good. But as a team, they are better, and they know exactly what to do against every team. They got an awesome team play, and they pull it out extremely perfectly. Talking about Fnatic and EG, I honestly think that we are a tiny bit ahead. Maybe not in this particular moment, but overall, if you go team player by team player, strategy by strategy, game by game, I think we are a little bit better.
Well, they had disappointing tournaments as well. I mean, it wasn't just you guys. They had terrible times. I mean, nobody saw EG and Fnatic, you know, going out. And I mean, Fnatic lost games that people, what the fuck is going on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, totally understandable. When I was speaking with them, before I played even, I was like, dude, I understand totally how you lost, and I hope it doesn't happen the same to us. That was one day before we lost. And at the end, 75% of the teams that actually played in the Super Week failed hard.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say it as an excuse, because M5 went 5-0. They are machines, but of course it helped. Of course it helped. And again, it's not an excuse. We got owned.
Well, let's talk about this state of the game. You're a person who's known for being methodical, a thinker about the game. You analyse it a lot. You always have lots to say when you're on stream and doing analysis and commentary. So, mid laning right now, it kind of feels that you have to take certain items. You see, like a lot of the Rod of Ages kind of coming in there. It's almost as if you have to build sustain. Athene's Grail comes in there a lot as well. You have to build sustain, and then you have to be tanky. Like, do you think that at the moment, the way mid laning works, you have to have certain items?
I think the way mid lane works is the way the whole meta is working, which is I don't know if I can explain this way. There's a curve. Imagine there's a graphic and there's a curve, okay? So in the curve at the beginning, everybody except the 80s are really, really weak. Oriana and Evia, they're really weak, okay? But when the game goes on after 15 minutes, the curve goes like this. And then is when the APs are going to be more and more important. And then the last part of the curve is the HP, the HP bars. So in my opinion, right now, 80s are way better early and late game. Both melees and ranged, and AP mids are extremely perfect for mid game. So knowing that, you can actually do a lot of, you can change the meta with that. And we're actually thinking about changing the meta, because the meta we are playing right now currently is not the meta we'll be playing in 5 months. I'm pretty sure about that. Things change, and when people realizes that curve, people will be like, okay, so APs are really weak level 1. What can we do? Do we need APs? You know, those kind of questions. So at the end, we're gonna end up like Dota. I think we're gonna end up doing the buffs level 1 and going to jungle or something. I mean, going to lanes or something.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Dota. The League of Legends meta, it was so rigid for so long. You know, inflexible. Everyone played the same way. Then we started playing the Koreans. They started experimenting. People got new ideas. Builds started to change. And now, like you say, the meta is like it's in such flux. It's changing all the time, and you see new things coming out at tournaments and indeed in LCS. Do you think League of Legends needed that so people will start taking it seriously and looking at the game and say, actually, this can be as complex as Dota?
Let's be honest, Season 1, every game was the same. They were pretty fun to watch, but every game was like, okay, Gragas stop or whatever, you know. At the end, it was the same. Then it started changing. People realized the jungle, counter jungling, this and that. And now is the point where people is actually realizing that the experience they get from jungling and being camping a lane is better for you, because the opponent is actually knowing that you're there, so he won't creep. So even though his jungler is running around, roaming around, doing stuff, that laner, a solo laner, won't get any XP. So that kind of stuff will end up changing the meta. I'm pretty sure about it. And I don't know who's gonna put it out first, because you need to have balls basically. But somebody will do it eventually.
And do you think then that, I mean, you know, the rivalry between all the MOBA games, I mean, are Dota 2 fans ever going to start to respect League of Legends? Are MOBA fans and esports fans going to respect the game finally as being complex?
I like this question, because in my eyes, one of the most skill-capped games, in arenas at least, was World of Warcraft, which I played. And I felt like it was really easy to be a professional player for me, because the skill cap was so high. But now with League of Legends, as the skill cap is not that high, I recognize it. The skill cap of League of Legends is lower than the skill cap of Dota. Now it comes to the point where there are 50 million players. Imagine only 20% of them, which is a reasonable number, want to be a professional player. All those 10 million players are going to try as hard as you. Or maybe try as hard as you.
Yeah.
Being the skill cap not that high makes the difference in between your level and their level not be that much. So here we got a problem. To be at a professional level and keep yourself at the top during a lot of time, you need to work your ass off even more than in Dota, even more than in World of Warcraft, even more than in StarCraft, because the skill cap is not so high. So more players can reach that skill cap or can get closer to that skill cap. I think it makes a lot of sense. And right now I can tell you that for me that keep being a professional player in League of Legends is such a hard task because everybody comes so strong, and to be at the top you have to, I don't know, you have to pull out every single tournament something different, and you have to play perfect.
Do you think there's a lot as well, though, in League of Legends? I look at LCS and I think you guys don't just work as esports competitors. It's almost like you work in television as well, because you have to have a personality. After a game, you're pulled into an interview. Sometimes guys like yourself, they get to be on the casting desk or cast a game or do analysis. Do you think it's as important in the current way Riot envisions League of Legends being successful to be a media personality as well?
Well, I think that you cannot force being a media personality. I'm not yelling and I'm not, going so crazy or crying when I lose because I'm a media personality. But I am a media personality because I'm that kind of person.
Yeah.
And before I was a media personality, before I was what the people call here star and this and that, I was doing the same when I was playing football and stuff, and nobody knew me, So I think it's more like you cannot force that. What people like is what people like, and at the end, if people like you, they're gonna like you. It's easy as that.
Have you had to change your personality at all? Because I know we talked a little bit there about it. We mentioned it briefly, community giving you a second chance. But did you have to almost sanitize what Ocelote is? Because you are an emotional guy. We've seen the good, the bad. Now that you're LCS, a professional player, working with Riot very closely, have you had to change at all personally?
I didn't change, but every time I wake up in the morning, I want to be a better person than the day before. So I can tell you clearly that I was never a bad guy. But on the other hand, I can tell you that my passion and the fact that I was young as well, when I lost a game or something, the way I reacted wasn't the right one, But it wasn't the right one. I mean, probably right now I react the same way, but I hide it, because I know I'm a role model. So when it was one day that everything changed, which was when in Gamescom 2 years ago, that one guy, well, I already told this story several times. So one guy, which was handicapped and came from Paris, he came to Cologne to Gamescom only because of me. And he actually told me, we were speaking for like 2 hours and a half. And I was like, holy shit, I realized that I was a role model. And I realized that I would never ever call somebody out, because that is not what I want people, young people or old people or whoever, to watch in my streams. So I learned how to, of course I rage inside when I lose because I'm a winner.
Yeah, no one wants to win. Everyone wants to win.
But I don't show to the people how raging I am inside. So I think this is the best thing ever. I didn't change my personality at all. I just managed to, in front of the people, be a better person.
Right, last couple of questions. The Koreans. League of Legends has been a huge success in Korea, we all know that. Their teams have brought new things to the game, and again, like I say, we changed the meta. What did you make of them here? Did you think they were all conquering? Was anyone intimidated? Have you been impressed with what you saw?
Koreans are ahead of everything right now, in terms of League of Legends, I mean. They are better players, they are better team players, they got better strategies, they got a better mindset, they are more open to test stuff, they are just ahead. So not only Koreans, Asians in general. So the only thing we have to do is learning from these tournaments. I will watch every replay of every Korean team at least 5 times and learn from them, because these guys are ahead. What is the difference in between them and us? The difference between them and us is that they have everything scaled and they actually strategize during a lot of time, and they even think about new things, They are the ones that pull out new things. Well, probably M5 is close by, But yeah, we just have to learn from them. I think we are, in terms of individual skill, I think standard European teams are better, but they just kill us with strategizing and team play, and
So with that said, who do you think is going to win this tournament overall? Because obviously a lot of people have been saying Gambit Gaming, like as you said, are machines. They're going to be able to do it, or are we talking about a Korean victor here?
Well, they are playing right now. I don't know how they are doing, to be honest. But I would say that, I mean, in my heart, I love Frost and I love M5, so I cannot really pick up my better team, because my relationship with them both is insanely good. But I think, from what I've seen, I think Koreans can adapt a little bit better, and Russians have this one play style which is incredibly good, and they pull out extremely good individual skill. But the Koreans can actually, I think the Koreans can counter that. I think they pull out strange stuff that actually works. So.
Well, look, there's the thought. So that's where you put your money. It's great to talk to you. Always back Frosty saying the Koreans. But look, it's great to talk to you, and I wish you all the best. I know you're having a good time in LCS.
Thank you very much.
So best of luck with all the games for that.
Thank you very much.
To all the people out there at Cadra.org, do stay tuned to the website. We're going to have more interviews like this one from here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. He loves you.